You're over 45 now. You've been waiting for SHTF for the last 20 years. You always knew this time would come. But now that the shadows are lengthening, some of you are staring at your stacks of canned beans in your water barrels, wondering if you're actually losing it. I get it. We've been preparing for the end of the world longer than a washed-out rock star's endless farewell tour. We survived Y2K, and we watched the 2008 financial collapse while the experts sang us lullabies about everything being under control. We've sat through a dozen blood moons in Mayan calendars. And here we are, 2026, and the sun still has the audacity to come up. Your neighbors probably think you're a paranoid freak. They see you hauling another case of ammo or a solar generator into the garage, and they smirk as they head off to spend their last dime on a latte and a car lease they can't afford. Today, we're going to discuss why being a prepared citizen, let's drop the prepper label and just call it being a grown-up, is the only logical way to live, even if the 4 horsemen never ride through your yard. Here is 10 reasons why prepping is not what people think. First off, let's talk about Mother Nature. She's not your friend. She's a bipolar force of chaos that doesn't give a damn about your mortgage or your weekend plans. Local disasters happen every single week, whether it's a hurricane in the south, a blizzard in the north, or a wildfire out west. When the trees are down and the roads are blocked, the civilians are out crying in the rain, waiting for a government bureaucrat to hand them a bottle of water. Not you. You've got the fuel, generator, and a plan. Preparedness for disaster is a basic insurance for living on a planet that sometimes tries to kill you. You think the end of the world is a mushroom cloud? No. For most men, it starts with a man in an expensive suit saying, "We've decided to go in a different direction." When you lose your job, your budget becomes a crime scene. But if you've been prepping, you aren't staring at an empty pantry in a week. You've got 6 months of a grocery store sitting in your basement. Every can of beef stew you bought at 2022 prices is a tax-free dividend you're paying yourself now. Prepping buys you the time to find a new mission instead of grabbing any filthy job just to put bread on the table. Inflation, the silent thief. Have you noticed the grocery bill lately? Stupid question. Of course you have. You're a prepper. You're watching prices jump 40% while the talking heads on the news tell you inflation is cooling. If you bought your rice, beans, and coffee 2 years ago, congratulations. You just made a smart investment. While the normies are complaining about the price of eggs, you're eating cheap food from your private stock. Prepping is just smart arbitrage. Buy low, eat high. The ghost ship supply chain. We saw it in 2020. We will see it again soon in 2026. A tanker gets stuck in a canal, a port strike, or another conflict, and suddenly you can't find a spark plug or a roll of toilet paper for love or money. Our just-in-time delivery system, it will fail you the moment things get interesting. The foundation of mental health in a crisis is to have a year's supply of the basics. Everyday SHTF on the road. I've used the gear in my truck for boring emergencies more times than I can count. GPS goes out, you've got a paper map and the brain cells to read it. A sudden storm hits while you're out, you've got a tarp and a poncho. Your car breaks down, you've got a real jack, a flare, and a vest, so you don't get turned into a grease spot by some distracted teenager on TikTok. If you're traveling without a go bag, you're just a volunteer victim. Natural selection. Let's get real. The world is getting twitchier. Home invasions, street attacks, flash mobs. Being a prepper means you've developed situational awareness. You don't walk around with your nose to your phone like a digital zombie. You scan. You know where the exits are. You've got your concealed carry, and you actually practice. You aren't some tactical mall ninja looking for a fight. You're a gray man. You look like everyone else, but you have the teeth to protect your family. Your house has cameras and motion lights, and that's why you're a hard target. The Red Dragon. House fires happen every day. Preppers have fire extinguishers in every room, an evacuation plan, and a designated meeting spot. While the neighbor is standing on his lawn wondering where his kids are, you've already accounted for yours, and you're calling it in. This is the difference between being a man and being a decoration. The grid that isn't. Our power grid is a geriatric mess held together by corrosion and prayer. When the lights go out, and they will, you aren't sitting in the dark, shivering or eating cold beans out of a can. You've got lighting, you've got a stove, and you've got a way to keep the fridge running. A power outage for a prepper is a quiet evening with a book. For a civilian, it's a catastrophe. Medical independence. In a real emergency, the ambulance is 30 minutes away, if it comes at all. Prepping is about having a real trauma kit, and the training to use it. You know how to stop a bleed. You know how to manage an airway. You stay calm while everyone else is screaming and leaking. That training is just as useful in a car accident as it is in a war zone. Physical endurance. You can't prep your way out of poor physical conditioning. If a half-mile walk under load feels like a cardiac emergency, you've already failed the first test of survival, especially after 45. Forget the bench press records. Your goal is diesel engine endurance. You need the ability to move for a long time, carry your weight, and stay functional when the world stops being convenient. Your body is the primary platform for all your other gear, the tribe. Survival is a team sport. Lone wolves live fast, but they die alone. If you're doing this solo, you're just a loot drop for someone smarter who built a gang. After 40, you should know who in your neighborhood keeps their word and who just barks. Help a neighbor today. It's not altruism. It's an investment in your future survival. When something goes wrong, the average person feels helpless. But when you've prepared, you develop a level of competence that changes your very DNA. You've already fought this battle in your head 1,000 times. We prep so we don't have to be scared. When the news cycle goes into a frenzy, I don't feel my chest tighten. I just checked my inventory and went back to sleep. So, ignore the smirks. Ignore the people who think the government is their daddy. Keep training, keep stocking, and keep your head on a swivel. Calm head outlives a strong back every single time.